Whether you're picking and grinning or just grinning, grab a drink, pull up a seat. It's time for Roots Music Rambler. Turn it up. All right, so Frank, I had this thought the other day as I'm driving down wherever the fuck I was driving. And I thought to myself, who would of all of the musical artists that are out there, living, not dead, let's take the dead people off the list.
Okay.
Because it's not possible. Of all the artists out there living, who would you most like to have lunch with? So that you could pick their brain, so that you could talk to them about music, life, them, whatever, just anything. And you can come up with more than one, but it's just like, I was just kind of pondering, who out there would I like to just sit down and chat with? Because I've had a couple of opportunities to just sit down and chat with a few artists lately, not necessarily huge mega stars or anything like that.
Yeah.
You sit down and talk to somebody and you get to know them a little bit. And you're like, what? This person's fascinating as shit.
Right.
You know? So I'm curious, who out there that you don't know that well would you like to get to know better over a burger or something?
Okay. Yeah.
You can't say the Secret Sisters.
No, I know. I've talked with them before though, more than, I've talked with them a few times. So, let's see. Okay. The first one that comes to mind, simply because it's out there, would be Adeem the artist, even though I've talked with Adeem before. But lately, Adeem has gone through some stuff and isn't in a good place and is open about it, So, but I also think that they're such a good songwriter. Like all of their songs just hit. It's hard to explain. I'm on the spot, right? So yeah, Adeem for sure, just to find out what makes them tick, and and just to let them know that it's okay to go through stuff, and you know, um, Adeem's got quite a strong fan base and a lot of people that care about them. So if anything, just to get that message across. And, yeah, so that's one, and Adeem has some really, interesting thoughts on things. We'll just leave it at that. So, oh, and then I gotta say Patterson Hood.
Sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
who wouldn't wanna sit down and chat with Patterson? I mean, that guy, he can talk your face off. Um, and he's got stories like you wouldn't
Mhm.
believe, and I think it would just be fun to sit and listen to him. I mean, we do that anyway, right, when we go see him solo or with the truckers, but yeah, I'll start with those 2.
Okay, those are good. Those are good ones. So I don't think mine are going to surprise very many people, at least those who know the kind of music I like. I think the first name that popped into my head when I was thinking this was Charlie Starr from Blackberry Smoke.
Okay.
And I've seen him on a couple of podcasts or YouTube shows, but they've mostly been about music. They've mostly been like, I think he was on the Gibson Guitars podcast or whatever that was, and talking very specifically about guitars and his guitar collection and all that kind of stuff, which is perfectly, interesting stuff to me. But Charlie Starr, based on his songwriting and whatnot, and some of the other interviews I've seen, it just seems like a cool hang. He seems like a
Mm.
guy that would be cool to just sit and just drink a beer and talk shit with, On a similar note, I'm fascinated with Silverado. So Mike Harmeyer from Silverado, formerly Mike and the Moon Pies. Again, Mike seems to me like he's more of a beer drinking, cigarette smoking, honky tonk kind of guy. But he seems like the kind of guy who I would walk into a bar, and if I saw him sitting there, I'd go sit by him and we'd watch a football game and, talk shit and yell at the screen and, eat peanuts and clink our beers together when our team scored. He just seems like a cool hang. And those are the kind of guys who I would like to just kind of just sit and chat with.
Okay.
So yeah, and then just to add another one, and I obviously have had the good fortune of chatting with her a couple of times now. once in person and once on our show, is Emily Scott Robinson. She is
Oh,
fascinating.
yeah.
And as you guys know from the episode, we talked for way longer than we normally talk to guests, just because that's who she is. She's real bubbly and chatty, and we just kind of went from one topic to another and wound up talking about my daughter and all sorts of other crazy shit. But I could probably sit and talk to her all day and not get tired. And it turns out her partner, Colin, is
Mhm.
a musical theater director. And so my daughter, when we met Colin and Emily in Nashville at her album release party, my daughter and her partner Colin were just chit chatting about
Oh,
stuff. So
nice.
that they're both very, very extroverted and outgoing, and just fascinating people, very good people to hang with. And so whether you're just one of those kind of really good, personable, social people who likes to sit and chat, or you're kind of a Charlie Star or Mike Harmon kind of, I'm gonna sit and drink a beer and watch football with you, and we'll just talk shit. Those are the kind of people I'd like to hang out with.
For sure.
So yeah,
I could totally see you hanging with the both of them, for sure.
that'd be a hell of a day right there. Charlie and Mike come over to my house and just sit and watch ball games with me. That's like a Make-A-Wish thing right there. If I ever get cancer,
Yes.
I'm dialing that one
Oh,
in
God
right there.
forbid. Oy Dios mío. Okay, anyway,
Hey, it's my body. I can
I
talk
know,
about it however I want. Welcome to Roots Music Rambler. She's Frank,
and he's false.
and we're rambling on through the stories behind the music we love.
Yes, you got that. All right, and today on the show, we are talking with one personal opinion here, talking with one of the most badass female artists in the Chicago Americana scene, and that is Rachel Swain. So I've gotten to know Rachel over the last couple of years, and she's really starting to make a name for herself, and she's a hustler too.
Cool. And if you've been listening to the show for any length of time, you've probably heard Frank mention Rachel Swain. She's one of the artists who gave her time and talent to play at Frank's friend Lindsay's memorial last year. I know that really meant a lot to you, Frank.
For sure, and Lindsay adored Rachel as well. So, I mentioned that Rachel's a total hustler. She's a singer-songwriter, a mom to 2 young kids, and a teacher, okay? So she's got a lot going on. And with all of that, her band, Rachel and her band, they just recently finished recording Rachel's first solo full-length album, and it is titled Neon Lullaby, which is set to release on May 29th of this year. So I don't know how she manages to do it all because I mean, I work, I teach as well, I have 2 kids and I have a podcast. Like I'm not in a studio recording music and take after take. So
Mhm.
but it is very impressive.
It is, no kidding about that for sure, and we'll have to ask her about all that, and as well as hear more about her Texas roots and bringing that Lone Star swagger to the Windy City.
Yes, you know how the saying goes, like, you can take the girl out of Texas, but you can't take the Texas out of the girl or something like that. So, yeah, and then after our chat with Rachel, we will have our regular Pickin' the Grinnin segment where Jason and I share what we've been listening to lately that's making us grin. So be sure to stick around for that.
Yeah, this is gonna be a fun interview. I love the examples of people who we can bring on the show who we know she's a teacher, so we know there's like she has a full-time job. The music thing is a side hustle, at least for the time being.
Mhm.
And I don't think that a lot of people understand these artists are not just going from gig to gig and traveling all
Right.
over the country playing gigs. They have jobs, they have kids, they have families, like there's all sorts of stuff that goes on outside of what they do on the nights and weekends that they might have available. So gonna be good to get that perspective today from Rachel. All right, we'll take a short break here so we can get that quick refill. When we come back, we'll be talking to Rachel Swain. Stay tuned. This is Roots Music Rambler.
Study and play come together on a Windows 11 PC. And for a limited time, college students get the best of both worlds. Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
Welcome back to Roots Music Rambler. That song is Houston by Rachel Swain. It was released as a single in 2025, and it will be the lead single on Rachel's solo debut album, Neon Lullaby, which will drop on May 29th of this year. Rachel, it's so great to have you on the show. Thanks so much for being here. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Wonderful,
Hanging in there.
wonderful. Since we started this segment with your song Houston, it seems like as good a time as any to ask you about your roots and your origin story back in Texas. You're originally from Austin, I believe. Also lived in Houston. Now you're in Chicago. How the hell does that happen? And we can certainly hear the Texas influence in your music, but how does Chicago play into it, if at all?
So, when I was like a preteen, my mother was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, which is a degenerative disease that is for some people really exacerbated by heat. And so my mom was real sick, and my dad tells his boss, I need a job somewhere where it's cold. Transfer me to an office that has an opening that's cold. And it was either New Jersey, I don't even know where in New Jersey, or Chicago. And I'm glad that he picked Chicago. That's how we ended up here. But my mother, and she loved to be like, oh, you're a 5th generation Texan, like going way back. We were very Texan on that side. My dad is from Arkansas, but moved all around, especially the West Coast, like mostly grew up in like the San Francisco Bay Area in Northern California. And then, ended up back in Texas, in Houston, where he met my mom. They moved to Austin so he could go to UT, and then back to Houston to be near my grandmother.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay. I never knew that story. So thank you for sharing. And certainly,
Yeah, it's definitely like a weird path. And it's been like I've been in Chicago more years than I've been, than I ever lived in Texas, but it's just still home. So
I get it. I totally get it. And I know you mentioned your dad, and I think I've mentioned this to you before. But I absolutely love that you play with your dad, under the name The Swains. And I appreciate it too, because I was very close with my father as well. And not that I could ever imagine him playing music like on a stage in front of people, but I wish that he and I had some sort of like the same sort of opportunity to share a common passion. I mean, aside from like fishing and talking about hockey. But anyway, so can you talk a bit about what it means to you to play, perform, record with your dad?
yeah, I mean, growing up, music filled our house. So it's always been like part of my relationship with my dad. And when I was about 16 years old, he started taking me to the open mic at Fitzgerald's in Berwyn. Which at the time, the open mic doesn't happen anymore, but at the time
Right.
that was like a legendary open mic to go to. And it really was a place where like creativity was fostered. That's actually where I met my producer and guitar player, Ryan Anderson, for the first time. And it was really like there were some incredible, I mean, they're still around that scene, but at that open mic there were some incredible songwriters. And so I learned a lot about just like what it meant to write a good song or to perform, to captivate like a crowded bar sort of vibe. And I learned that because my dad fostered that. So as I got older, I had several different projects in different genres. But then coming out of the pandemic, um, I said, Dad, we should just start a band, and to play some of these songs. He has a more like, I would guess you would call it like a roots rock kind of band,
Yeah.
on his own. But he really loves doing the country stuff. I really love doing the country stuff. I'd say sometimes my own music leans towards Americana at times, but the Swains are truly like country.
Nice.
And and it means a lot. I mean, now my daughter's been threatening. My daughter's like almost 6. She'll be 6 in May. She's like threatening to get up on stage. She wants us to sing. She wants us to do Ella Langley songs. That's what her
I
vibe
don't even know who that is.
All right.
She's the Choosing Texas song. She's all about it. So
I like it. That's good stuff.
Mm.
That's awesome. I hope she does force you guys to get her up on stage and let her do that. That'd be fantastic.
I told her, I said, next show we have that you're not in bed for, I'm bringing you up on stage, so you better know the song.
Oh, and she's
That's
so
good
stinking
stuff.
cute.
Yeah. It means a lot though. Like you asked about the recording especially. I don't have my mom was this incredible singer. Like, I mean, just like silence the noisiest, craziest biker bar you've ever seen with like one note. She was incredible. She was an incredible performer too. And that's how they met. And
Okay.
when she passed, I don't have any recordings of her voice.
Wow.
I don't have like anything of her singing. So that was, my dad has some recordings now, but for years I was like, you have to start recording some of your songs because they're gone when you're gone. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I'll remember them, but like, and so I think that the urgency of like having lost my mom and then being like, okay, well, we gotta make this permanent in some way.
No.
So is that the motivation that kind of went behind going out and making your solo record, and what was that process like?
A little bit, yeah. Yes, a little bit. Like I did want to leave. I did want to leave that for my kids.
Yeah.
Not to like think too much of myself, but I know how much it would mean to me to have that of my mom's. So I'm glad. From my previous like band, my indie rock band from back in like the 2000s, or I should say the 2010s. We do have like 4 full-length records and 2 EPs out. So I knew that they would have something, but those projects were not like only my songwriting. And so this is like just mine, and I'm
Yeah.
proud to leave that for them.
That's cool.
And you've got a killer band behind you too. So tell us about those dudes and what their talents and contributions mean to you.
Oh my gosh. Well, okay, so I have to start with Ryan because Ryan is like the thing that everything surrounds.
Yeah.
So Ryan Joseph Anderson is his performing name. I think it's just his real name, but there's probably a lot of Ryan Andersons, so you need a distinction, Anyway, I mentioned we had met at the open mic many years before. So talented. Very like had multiple projects, bands that were extremely popular here and then abroad meaning the rest of the country. He moved to Nashville and became a pretty seasoned musician himself, as well as founded with a couple of other people his own booking agency.
Nice.
And he met Adam, who is the co-producer of this record, as well as the bassist and the keys and this mixing engineer and the recording engineer. I mean, Adam wears every hat. He met down there. And so then Ryan and I had been in a band together for a little while, and the band had ended sort of like in a strange way. And we ran into each other at a bar, and we both were like, hey, what happened with that? Yeah, that was weird. That was weird. And we got to talking and he goes, I really love doing some of your songs. I love this song and this one song in particular that's going to be on the record, Ghost. And he's like, I'd love to help you produce a record. And I don't know why, but I just thought he was making it up. Like, I was just like, he's not serious. Like, he's like Ryan, he can do whatever he wants. Like, he's kidding. Um, and then the next time I saw him, he said it again. And I sent him a text. I was like, are you BSing me? Or like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, no, I'm serious. Let's make a record. And then he kind of talked me through what it would be like. He and Adam came over and we did like a sort of a pre-recording session, and they were like, we want to bring in Gerald Dowd. And Gerald is like legendary in this area. He's Robbie Folk's on again, off again drummer for many, many years. And is just like not just an excellent drummer, but like an excellent human being all around. So I go in with those three boys and gentlemen, and we cut what was, gosh, we haven't even actually put out all the material we cut initially. So we cut Bad Guy Boots, Houston, Shame, a song that's on the new record called Fortune. And I feel like there was one more, but it's not coming to me. And it was like such an awesome experience. It was excellent. And Gabe Stutz is the pedal steel player I thought he was a Nashville guy for some reason. And then they were like, no, he's local. So we roped him into the band. And, we had a show, and afterwards I was driving Ryan home, and I don't know if he'd had a couple of drinks or whatever, because this is the band.
This is the band.
This is the band. And I was like, are you sure? And he's like, no, this is the band. Okay. This is the band.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I love it. Now we've got all the pieces in place. Let's take a quick break so we can listen to a little bit more of the music. When we come back, we're going to continue our talk with Rachel Swain about some music that inspires her and her songwriting, and how she has time to do all that and be a mom and a wife and work and all the other shit you got to do. So, and I know why she's doing it, because eventually she's going to make it big and make a fortune. So we're going to go to break with Fortune from Rachel Swain, and you're listening to Roots Music Rambler.
I never seen such a brilliant light shining out of those golden eyes. When you run, do you run with the wind? When you sing, I feel all new again. Girl, don't start doing what. I don't mind a little barroom smoke. I close my eyes and take a toke and sway along to a song I heard too many times before.
Welcome back to Roots Music Rambler. That song is Neon Lullaby by Rachel Swain, the title track off her upcoming solo debut album. Rachel is our guest here today on the big show. All right, Rachel, let's talk a little bit more about the album. We were lucky enough to listen to a few of the tracks before the official release, and we definitely picked up on a lot of diverse musical styles, from Mama What'd You Say, which was kind of bluesy, to the Woman in My World, more of a honky-tonk song, which means it's probably my favorite on the album. So from whom and where do you draw all this inspiration?
Well, I'm not good at making up stories. So a lot of it is like fictionalized, but
Mhm.
inspired by real people events, in terms of just like characters or scenes, anything like that. Um, but in terms of like musical inspiration, I do like to listen to a broad range of stuff, and I was in an indie rock band for about a decade. I was in a French 60s pop band for a little while. I was in a I was in, a Devo tribute band, an all female
Jesus, hold
Devo
on, wait a
tribute
minute.
band.
Ho,
Why
stop,
why
stop,
why
stop,
did
stop.
I not know this
Oh,
already?
wait till
A
you hear our name, because this was
Devo tribute band? All right,
yes,
keep going. I need to know more.
yeah. So one of my best friends, Molly, she and I were like, yeah, let's just have a fun project. Let's just do something fun. And we were driving around trying to think of a band name because we at first it didn't start out as Devo. It started out as we were gonna just cover songs with like about a girl or with a woman's name in it, but not change any pronouns. That was the initial idea. And she goes, "What if we called ourselves Are We Not Men?" And I was like, that's good.
Okay.
And then for like a Halloween show, we did Devo. We made the energy domes, we had the shirts, the whole thing. We actually started the show with the Rugrats theme song, which was uh
Love it.
and it like hit, like people loved it. Um it was very, very fun. It was the most challenging guitar playing I've had to do up to that point. Sorry, I can see him in the background, my son. Um, and so it kind of just went from there, and it was unfortunately it ended eventually when our drummer had to like part ways, go somewhere else, and she was just so incredible. It was really hard to find anybody who could like sing and play drums on some of those Devo songs like that. Like she was Kayla, she was everything.
Oh,
Kayla come back.
Wait, okay, real quick. Well, the one before that, the French, what the 60, what was that one? I was
Yeah.
confused.
So that one's called the Yay-Yays. That one was the Yay-Yays. And it was formed by Heather Perry, who is in Plum. Currently, that's her
Okay.
current project. She's been in so many awesome, like, I would say like indie pop rock kind of bands um throughout Chicago for, decades now, a couple of decades now. And she just like founded it from this love of like French pop music with Lindsay Weinberg, who's actually in an awesome local Fleetwood Mac tribute called Secondhand News. And so they were like best friends. They formed this band and they said, "Hey, we want to bring you in as a guitar player. And like, can you play lead?" And I was like, "Yeah." And you know, then I just figured it out. Um because I'd admired both Lindsay and Heather for so long, just like such excellent musicians and like strong like female songwriters. And and then yeah, I was in that band. I think we had like about another year before Heather moved to another city, and so the band kind of just ended there.
Were the songs in French?
Yeah. So Yay music is it gets its name. It, I could be wrong. Maybe one of your viewers is going to correct me on this, but my understanding is that Yay music was just like straight up Beatles jangly pop in French. And like the name literally was derived from the Beatles playing at the Olympia one night, and the French crowd singing along with "Yeah, yeah, yeah" sounded like "Yay, yay, yay" because of the accent. So French yay music kind of got its name from that. And like, sort of the hallmark characters are France Gall, Françoise Hardy. There's one off the tip of my tongue that I'm forgetting.
Pepe Le Pew.
Yeah. Oh, Jane Birkin kind of is associated with that scene. But yeah, we a lot of the songs were, songs we'd all recognize, Beatles songs.
Yeah.
Or we did Les Cactus, which is a Jacques Dutronc song, which is like it has made it into a couple of movies. Anyway, they were all in French. And they were very fun. We dressed like, very 60s pop kind of vibe.
Okay.
did you wear
right.
berets?
No beret. I don't think, well, at least not when I was there, but lots of like beehives, and like
Oh,
wings.
yeah,
like
you
winged
can't. I
eyes.
can't imagine a beret and a beehive.
do too much.
Too much. Too much.
That would be a cartoon, I think.
Oh my
So
goodness.
it's
This
yeah.
conversation, this is great. This is so great. Rachel, I'm so excited to learn all this about you. This is awesome. All right. So the question started out with your musical, like who inspires you, right? All right. So speaking of that, I'm always inspired by and in awe of women like you who are total forces to be reckoned with. You know, you're out here writing, playing music, being a mom to two freaking adorable kids. And you know, you're a wife and you work full time. Like, where do you find the time and the energy to do all of this?
It's honestly been a little bit harder lately. um, but I'm telling myself that like some of that energy is going to like the promotion rather than the like actual writing right now. I hope that's true. You know, 5 months from now, we'll see. Um, but I'm really lucky that my husband is very, very supportive and he will figure out how to help me have the time. Um, and that's like, I know that that's not an experience that a lot of people have. And so I feel really lucky. I also feel really lucky that both my father and my father-in-law are super present in our kids' lives and will, watch the kids often. My father-in-law takes the kids every Saturday for the full day,
No.
Wow.
just to hang out with them. And that often is like when I get a lot of writing done. But I've been working actually really hard on trying to cultivate like an intentional songwriting practice. But the truth is that like, I might come home from work with an idea in my head and then I walk straight in, I grab my guitar, I'm like, everybody leave me alone. And I go close the door to the bedroom and just, you know, there's so many like voice memos that I sent to the guys for this record where like in the background, my son is like yelling something crazy like, Mama, we're naked. I didn't make that up. That's real. You can ask Ryan at the next show. He's like, oh, yeah.
Keep that in the master. That'd be
Yeah,
great.
that's right.
Right.
Don't cut that one.
Oh my goodness.
Going to be a bonus track on the deluxe edition, actually.
There you go. I
That's
love it.
adorable.
Yeah.
Those little Easter eggs are awesome. I don't know if you heard this, but Brighter Days, Dwight
Oh
Yoakam's
yeah.
latest album.
Mhm.
On the song Brighter Days, his son is at the time, I think 4-year-old son, that like the song kind of fades and there's a little bit of silence, and then his son comes in and sings the chorus.
No, I'm going to have to
Um,
listen now.
oh, it's great. I think the song is actual Brighter Days, Dwight
Okay.
Yoakam. It should be on the streaming services. It's adorable.
Oh, that's so precious.
So, because he's not quite to the point to where he's pronouncing the words fully, it's more baby talk kind of thing. So
Even
it's cute.
cuter.
It's cute as hell.
Yeah.
All right, we're diverting way off
Way
track.
off,
Of course,
but that's okay. That's okay. We're
Hey, I love talking about Dwight Yoakam.
Hey, Devo hats on French beehives and in country bars playing indie pop. That's where we are at this point in the show. So with all that in mind, and you touched on this a little bit with a more intentional writing process, I'm curious, when you do have the moments, maybe on Saturday when the kids are gone with the father-in-law to sit down and write, what's your process like? Do you start with melody and whatnot, or do you start with lyrics, or how does that all come together?
So I do have a very full voice memo box of just like literally, I mean, I recorded 2 on the way home today, just like a little bit of a melody or like a line or something. Um, I'd be lying if I said it always is melody though first. A lot of times it's lyric first.
Mhm.
And it's so funny too, because I was just listening to Joe Pug's podcast about songwriting, and he was talking with Jason Boland about how he learned his songwriting process. And just like I've been really thinking about how different people approach things, and I'm trying to expand how I practice, but I will be truthful that like it's usually like a little kernel of something pops into my mind, and I can't let it go until I eventually write it into a song. So, um, I can remember, like, I often, when somebody's having a bad day, like a friend of mine, I'll be like, "Oh, you wanna go drink about it?" And, so that turned into a song that is not on this record, but is recorded and will likely be on a follow-up EP, called "Drink About It Now," you know what I mean? And so, like, I just, those little kinds of things just, like, pop into my head, and then I can't let them go until I've written
Mhm.
them down. So it's usually the lyrics first. And
Nice.
then, on a Saturday, I sit down with my guitar, and I'll usually just, like, repeat the lyric over a bunch of chords until something starts to a melody
That's
starts
cool.
to come to me.
Nice. I like it.
Wow. And clearly, making and performing music is incredibly important to you. And we love showcasing artists like yourself who possess this level of passion for the craft as you do. So we want all of our listeners to queue up that hot record as soon as it drops. Okay. So please let our fine listeners know where they can find your music and anything about your tour dates, whatever, out there on the World Wide Web.
Okay, so you can find me at rachelswainmusic.com, and there will be links to everything there. The record will be on all the streaming services. I'm also gonna put it out on vinyl. Um,
Yay!
yeah, it's gonna be, and I'll send y'all some translucent red vinyl,
Ooh.
which I'm very excited about. Can't wait to see it. Approved the test pressings a few weeks back. Um, and then probably CD as well. Those you can, purchase at shows, but everything else you can stream it, Bandcamp, all that jazz. It's all linked on my website. Um,
Awesome.
yeah, and the show is at Roberts West Side in Forest Park, Illinois on May 30th
I'll be there.
Beautiful.
with Riley.
Beautiful. Well, with Riley Downs too. Well, there
Yeah.
you
Oh, wait,
go.
what? Riley, she's gonna play with you?
Riley's opening, and Riley is actually on. You mentioned Mama earlier.
Yeah.
Riley is the featured singer on that one.
Oh, I I should know that. I just
Mhm.
listened to it. Okay. Oh, yay.
Well, there you go. So good stuff. We'll make sure there are links to all those places and reminders and whatnot in the show notes at rootsmusicrambler.com. Rachel, great chatting with you. We're very excited for the new record, Neon Lullaby. Thanks again for spending some time with us tonight.
Thank you.
Let's go out with one of Rachel's singles that is not on the upcoming album, but is a total banger nonetheless. It's a cover of the Faces classic Stay With Me, which I love. By the way, I've played it over and over and over and over again this week because it's one of my favorite songs anyway, and it's even better with Rachel Swain. The Pickin' the Grinnin' segment's coming up next. Stick around. This is Roots Music Rambler.
In the morning, don't say you love me, 'cause I'll only kick you out of the door. I know your name is Rita, 'cause your perfume smelling sweeter than when I saw you down on the floor. Guitar.
How about that, Rachel Swain? I cannot wait for this album. And we played a little bit of it, but do yourself a favor and go find Rachel's social channels and or Spotify, the Stay With Me cover, because it's fucking awesome. And I love that song anyway. So it's even better now.
And it slaps live, man.
Yeah.
Rachel and her band, they kill it.
That's good stuff. Yeah, I saw a video of them playing it. She's got a clip of it on, I think, on her Instagram, maybe.
Yeah.
Where it's maybe a minute or two of the song, but I'm like, oh shit, I'd love to see that live. That's great. So Rachel Swain, check her out. All the links are in the show notes and all that good stuff. All right, it is time on the big program where we have our Pickin' the Grinnin' segment. This is where Frank and I pick songs, artists, albums, movies, podcasts, whatever, something we're listening to this week that's making us grin. It's our way of recommending all of those things to you. So, Frank, who is your Pickin' the Grinnin' for this week?
Well, I'm gonna go a little rogue for the pick and the grinnin'. I mean, I have a pick, but I have a an ulterior motive, I guess. Okay,
Okay.
so the pick is Coulter Wall, and that he's an artist that I have mentioned on the show before. I don't know that he was technically one of my pick and the grinnin', but whatever. So just as we're recording, it was either today or yesterday, Coulter Wall released a statement that he is canceling all of his upcoming live shows for the foreseeable future to focus on his mental health. And not too long ago, he took a break, canceled some shows to focus on his mental health, and then I guess felt well enough to get back to it. And now is just like he can't do it anymore. Um, and Coulter, I feel very strongly about Coulter Wall's music, especially his earlier stuff. Um, he was one of the first like Americana, like hardcore acts that I really got into, about 7 years ago. So yeah, about 7 years ago. Anyway, so yes, listen to Coulter's music. His voice is very distinct, but more importantly, like, take care of yourselves, take care of one another. If you're feeling like it's a bit much, it's okay to take a step back and just focus on yourself, as Coulter Wall has modeled for us. And hopefully he really is taking care of himself, and he's gonna feel better soon, and he can get back out and touring, because I mean, he sells out shows everywhere he goes. So I mean, there's definitely the demand. So hopefully he can, you know,
Yeah.
start to feel better soon, and he gets back at it.
Yeah, the statement that he released on social media says, "The truth is that I'm mentally unwell. Despite this, I've pushed myself to continue with touring. As a result, my mental health has only further declined. After discussions with my team, we have decided to cancel the remaining shows and take an indefinite hiatus from live music. They'll refund all the tickets and all that stuff, of course." But I remember Karen and I actually were talking about that at lunch today, and she said, "Did you see that?" And I said, "Yeah." And I said, "Honestly, I'm glad. I'm really glad for him, because not a lot of people would do that. There's a lot of
Right.
pressure from record labels, from managers, from fans, from family, to just keep at it, no matter how bad you're struggling." And that's why we wound up with, you know, people who died too young, and people like George Jones, who was a, blithering alcoholic most of his life, because he had to get up and keep going. Now, he had a problem with alcohol that was beyond that, but you have a lot of people putting a lot of pressure on you when you're a performer at this level. And Coulter's been very, very successful over the last few years, cranking out really, really good music. So for someone of his status and stature and audience size to go, whoa, I got to take care of me for a little while. That's big. It's a role modeling type thing that
Yep.
I absolutely applaud him for doing. And I wish we all, could do that more, or felt like we could do that more in our lives. And maybe this will open the door for other people to take care of themselves too. So
Yep.
pay yourself first, kids. That's how it works. So good pick, Coulter Wall. Hope you're getting better, buddy. We'd love to see you back out there one day, but we want to make sure you're healthy enough to do it. So take
Amen.
care of yourself, man. Well, very good. When you started to say that, I was like, oh shit, she's about to say my Pickin' the Grinnin', because we got pretty close. I'm going to share a young man who, as we are recording this, his new album technically doesn't drop until Friday of the week that we're recording this. I got mine in the mail today.
Oh, fancy.
So I don't think I was special. I just pre-ordered it. So I guess they just sent the pre-orders out early. But he also has an album release party as we're recording this tomorrow night at the Burl in Lexington, Kentucky. The Pickin' the Grinnin' artist I'm talking about is Colton Bolin.
Oh,
And so Coulter Wall, you started to say Colton. I'm like, you can't do that.
no.
Anyways, Colton Bolin. Colton Bolin has started to make a little bit of a stir coming out of Clinton County, Kentucky, which is down along the Tennessee border. He reminds a lot of people in terms of songwriting and sometimes sound, although the sound's a little different. It reminds a lot of people of Tyler Childers. He's got some really good songs. He's got a really good voice, really good perspective on things. His debut album is called Grandpa's Mill. His grandpa lived on the Kentucky side of the border, and he would come over and work at his grandpa's mill. And so there's a lot of stories on the album that are sort of kind of baked into his rural growing up
Yeah.
out in farmland and whatnot on the cusp of the Appalachian Mountains there in south central Kentucky, almost eastern Kentucky, and on the Tennessee border. I've actually had the chance to meet this kid and talk to him a couple of times, and I just think he's super talented. And so and I've got a little bit of validity to back it up too, because today, as we're talking, the weekly Americana Music Association charts came out, and Clinton County, before the album has ever debuted, is number 38 on the Americana charts this week. I'm sorry, not Clinton County. That's the single. The single's number 33 on the charts this week. The album is already at number 38 on the album charts, and it's supposed to not come out for 2 days.
Oh, wow.
So Colton Bowling Kid's got some stuff going for him. He has a previous album too. He's on the Spotify's. You should check him out. I think he's he might be the next big thing to come out of Eastern Kentucky, and there's been a lot of them lately. So
Yeah.
Colton Bowling, well worth
All right.
checking out. There you have it.
Excellent.
All right, so we got a Colton and a Coulter. All right. Whew,
That's crazy.
man.
And we don't share our Pickin' the Grinnin' ahead of
No.
time, right?
No.
Like that was, so I can see why you got a little nervous when I
Yeah,
started saying Coulter.
you better not say Colton Bowling. I knew I was probably going to be in pretty good shape. I wouldn't think you would know who he is yet. So,
No, I didn't, but I'm certainly going to listen now.
well, good. I'm going to go up and play that record before I go to bed, just because
Nice.
I can. So I
Yes,
can
you
say it.
can.
I heard it before 99.9% of everybody else who heard it. So there you go.
Well, hot dog.
Roots Music Rambler is a production of Falls and Partners. Copyright 2026. Our theme music is Sheepskin and Beeswax by Gentacorum. Join us online at rootsmusicrambler.com and make sure you mash that subscribe or follow button so you remember to join us for the next Hoe-Down and Throwdown. She's Frank.
And he's Falls.
And wherever you do, kids, ramble on.